Once again, an edition of Wings Weekly coming your way. Jay Kleinknecht here along with head coach Scott Langer. Coach, big weekend here at the ODI Center. You come out on Friday night and, as I talked to you about on Saturday before the game, it just felt like in the first 40 seconds, the ice was tilted. Some big hits, and it was like welcome to the ODI. It was their first trip for the North Iowa Bulls here to the ODI Center to Aberdeen. You win 8-3 then, and again, it just felt like things really went your way early on. You have a strong first period of, a 5-1 lead at the end of that one. Maybe the second got a little flat, but overall a great night on Friday night. And I know you're not a big fan of dissecting or analyzing wins, but what did you guys, and I always say, what did you think of as a staff? But what was working? What was working so well? And were there any parts of that you were kind of like, we should be doing this better? As the game is going along, I always like to kind of pick your brain and see how, what your thought process is.
Yeah, our energy level was really good. I mean, when we came out that first shift and, we had a few guys lay some body and really kind of set the tone right away. And I thought that was huge. And obviously we got that big goal right away from Key that got us fired up. And our guys just they had fun. They were having fun.
Yeah.
They were having fun. So our second period was just okay, but again our third period was strong. And anytime that you can have that kind of offensive output, it's always a fun game.
Well, like you said, having fun, scoring goals and being physical and doing all the right things and having that level of success certainly is, makes it a heck of a lot more enjoyable for sure. You move on to Saturday, and I think we all knew that that they were going to come out strong on Saturday. They were going to come out fired up. There was some conversations that were had, between players and so on and things like that. They're going to be heated. And Saturday, the first period, a 0-0 first period, it was a lot tighter, obviously, when it comes to shots on goals. You were outshot. Evenly matched as far as play goes in a lot of ways, but then the second, you guys come out in the second and just absolutely, I think you outshot them 13-2 in the second alone. And again, the energy level was up, and you start to score some goals. You're up 4-1 at the end of when the final horn sounds, that close away. A minute 33, I think it was, away from a shutout, and just a real strong weekend again. But Saturday, a little bit of a different feel, and then as things kind of got towards the end of the game, about 8 minutes left, it seemed like they kind of came unraveled. I think I said in the broadcast a couple of times that they seemed like, obviously there's going to be some frustration, but they sort of seem like they lost composure. I don't think I'm overstepping any boundaries by saying that, but there's a lot of penalties and so on at the end of those games, some ejections and so on. What did you think of Saturday's matchup?
Yeah, I mean, our first period wasn't bad by any means. They did outshoot us that period, but Croy did a really good job of holding us in there. But again, we figured some stuff out after the first period. There was nobody in the locker room that was happy with coming out after a game like Friday, coming out in the first period, and I don't know if it wasn't stale. I mean, we still defensively were decent, but we just didn't have the same energy level. Mm-hmm. But we picked up there in the second period. It was a good second period, and then the third obviously filled with just wasting my time watching guys jump each other. So, but we came out unscathed on that, and we ended up taking 4 points on the weekend, which is what we had to do, especially with this long weekend coming, heading to Austin, and then guys having to leave to go to the top prospects. So we had to take care of home ice, and we did that.
Did that indeed. In spades, one might say. Yeah, with honestly, I mean, a pretty I don't know, I don't want to call it a signature kind of win or whatever you would say, but it just seemed like you guys really, like you said, took care of home ice, and it was like, we're not going to make this easy for you. And you've said that on many occasions, that making it difficult to play against is part of your goal, and it seemed like that was the case, and that you guys did a great job of that this weekend. Great crowd Saturday night, for sure, and a lot going on there for sure too. You mentioned energy. Now I wanted to ask you a little bit about recruiting and bringing guys in, and when you're looking at players, when you're looking at prospects that are coming in and so on, obviously you're looking at film, you're looking at video, you're looking at all kinds of things that they can do from a skill set. Do you ever look at Andy Reid, I think yesterday, talked about Travis Kelce and about how he's just like, he brings it every game. Like, he's always fired up and ready to go. Is there a tangible a mark of a moment or something that when you look at players, is that something that you're looking at too? Is there somebody that can bring that?
Yeah, I mean, there's, you do a lot of research. Obviously, you tap into their coaches that they've had in the past, and you kind of try to figure out what kind of personality they have.
Sure.
For example, the Tyler Doms kid that's come in and played 2 games for us. Like, we had him at camp a year ago, and we met him as a person, and he just had that fire, that energy all the time. He just wants to be around. He wants to play the game, and we're always looking for guys that are like that. And normally the quiet humdrum type player, it's not always easy to get that kind of growl at them. Yeah. So I mean, when their play on the ice is a big deal, but there's always 2 or 3 guys in the same ring that you're looking at, and you are taking the guy that has that lion personality, so to speak. The guy that just wants to go through the wall and just wants to be here, just wants to play, and
How do you measure that?
Well, I mean, it's, again, you don't just go out and you sign a player. You got to measure that by spending some time with the player on the phone, and talking to their parents is a big one as well. I mean, there's you get to ask them some questions about their kid and about themselves, what they do for a living, and there's a lot of conversations that go on, and at the end of the day, you take the player that's just kind of got the fire in his belly. Yeah. It's a personality thing. It's not a room of choir boys. What they call choir boys that are just very docile, and we want guys that are hungry and they want to hunt, and that is part of what we're looking for in a player. And you miss on some. Yeah. Sometimes you get fooled. That's just the game. But those players, they don't last that long. The ones that fool you early.
Well, it's interesting because, there are guys, there are some, I mean, I think, honestly, Nikolai Tishkevich is a perfect example, that is just the nicest guy off the ice. He just seems like you'd never expect him to be as fiery as he is, but on the ice, it's like a switch is flipped, and, that's, again, just one example, but, there are guys out there that you can clearly see play with a lot of emotion, a lot of passion, a lot of fire. And as I was just thinking about that, how in the recruiting process, how difficult it must be to kind of spot that, without actually being in the room. But that's part of the tender process, bringing guys in. Like you said, Dom scores a big goal there on Saturday night. He's fired up. He's ready to go, and you guys get a good chance to take a look.
Oh, yeah. It's the recruiting game is it's hard. It's a hard thing to find the right pieces, and that's why sometimes you see early on in the season, you see some changes being made because they just don't end up being the player that you thought they were going to be. And then you have some of the surprises that just come in and they completely take your room over, and they're the Tishes, the Bulgakovs, you know, the Pollocks, the Sharoons, the Backholes, like those guys are just, they want to hunt. They're hungry. They want to hunt, and that's the only type of player who wins championships. In my mind, you need guys that are just, no matter what, are going to get after it and go after it, and if they get knocked down, they're right back up in your face. And we got a few of those guys in the locker room, and it's starting to pay off.
Clearly it is. Well, Minot right now top of the division, 59 points. Bismarck 50 in second. Wings now again in third. Like you said, starting to pay off. 46 points right now for the Wings. St. Cloud with 44. Austin with 40. North Iowa with 20. All right, you're going to hate me for this, but you mentioned last week, we'll talk about that another time, about out-of-division play. North Iowa plays the Springfield Junior Blues and swept them on the weekend. They come into here, to the ODI Center with some confidence and stuff after a sweep like that, and picking up some wins and some points. What did you mean by that? Are you not necessarily a fan of the out-of-division play?
No, I'm not, because it's not everybody gets the opportunity to do it.
Right.
You know, so it completely affects the standings. And to me, there's absolutely zero reason, especially in a 6-team conference, that we have to have teams playing out of division. You know, I don't know what their reasons are, whether they want to see a different team, they want a market coming in their building or not, but it's never worked for me. We've played out of division games, in the past, and got a ton of points, and I'm sure other people were really upset about that. Like, there's just no reason to schedule out of division games when you have a good conference like the Central Division, and we kind of got an easy schedule to put it together. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to figure it out. You need to play each other so many different times, and there's a lot of rivalries because of it. I mean, you look at every team we play, there's what you call hockey hate.
Yeah.
So I don't understand teams being able to go out of division and get points to count in your division. Now, if you're in the South Division and you have an odd number of teams,
sure. Okay,
well, even though it's not possible down there because of the travel, I could understand trying to balance out some things with some out of division play, but I'm just not a fan. Let's play each other and let's see who's on top, who's on bottom in the end. I'd rather that than go into someone else's division and play games that just affect everybody's standings. It affects their standings as well. It doesn't make any sense for me.
And I kind of figured that's where you were going with that, because I mentioned it in the broadcast, I think on Friday night or whatever, when I was going through standings about that. The fact is that you don't know. Haven't seen Springfield Junior Blues. Are they, the Midwest, whatever. Is it possible, hypothetically speaking, that they are maybe not as strong as a division as the Central this year? Now, obviously, every year that's going to change, and every teams change and whatever else. But that outer division and interdivision play does change things, and so I kind of figured that's where you were going with that.
Yeah, but let's even the playing field then.
Yep.
Why does 2 teams get to go out and play at division and the other teams don't? Like, if we're gonna even it up, then send us to Cloquet, even though that it's a lot of extra miles for us. But if 2 teams are going to get to do it, then all 6 should have to do it. That's just my bottom line. It shouldn't be different rules for different teams.
Well, it almost becomes a little bit like cherry picking in a way. And don't get me wrong, the Wilderness are a very strong team, and I'm taking nothing away from any other teams. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that when you don't see the same teams, it's really hard to judge who's playing well against who, because you don't know, you haven't seen those equal matchups like you said. So
they can go the other way too. You could go there and then run into a complete powerhouse, where you're not seeing that team.
And you get completely shelled.
You get demolished, and you can't make up ground when that happens. So either way, they have their reasons for doing it. It's not going to change because they haven't changed it in all the years that I've been here. So I just don't understand it. But again, I'm just a coach.
Yeah. I'm just nothing, but I get you. I get it. And, again, meaning no disrespect to any other team or anything else, it's just that it is interesting when you play out of division against a team, that they're facing other teams, and, it's not an equal playing field, like you said. I find that interesting. All right, so we ran through the standings. Minot at the top. Austin beats Minot on Friday night, who Austin kind of been on a little bit of a slide here lately, but you face them again this weekend, and it's their Pink the Rink night at the Riverside Arena, which is always a huge night for them. It's a breast cancer awareness thing, and they literally paint the rink, the ice, pink, and you get people in there that are maybe only going to one game a year, but they're coming to that one, and it's going to be a loud crowd for sure. What do you have to do against a team like Austin? I know you've had some success against them, recently here, but again, they beat the number one team in the division. It goes to show, and it proves all the time, that every team can beat everybody. What are going to be some keys against this team in this match?
I mean, we just seen them 2 weeks ago, and they were hard-fought games. I mean, they're going to have guys back in the lineup. I'm sure they've gotten guys back that weren't in the lineup the last time we seen them. But, against Austin, you're going to get, especially in their home building, they work and they defend hard, and their especially teams are usually really good at home, and they have a Division I goaltender in net. So we got to just kind of stay playing the way we're playing, and going after teams and eliminating their offensive ability, and our goaltending needs to stay hot.
Some big keys for sure, and it'll be a challenge. It always is in the Central Division on every given weekend, whether it be on the road or at home or whatever. But coming off a very solid weekend here at the Odie, congratulations on that. And again, a huge crowd Saturday night for sure here, and they were entertained. There's no denying that. All right, before I let you go, I got to ask you a stupid question. You're a football guy. You're a sports guy. Yankees, Rangers, you follow this stuff, and of course the AFC and NFC championships yesterday. The camera hitting the suite with Taylor Swift and Jason Kelce and stuff last weekend, and Taylor Swift over and over again this weekend. The sports world is twisted on this. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm so sick of seeing her. I'm so sick of this." What do you think about the influence that she's had on this sport and what she's done?
It's just, I think she deserves the right to live a normal life, even though she's a self-made billionaire. Yes, or is the NFL marketing the heck out of that? Of course.
100%.
I think the NFL is a marketing genius with everything they pretty much do. They turn it into gold. But to me, I think it's great. I mean, and it's she's actually living like a normal human being, where a lot of those stars are stuck in their room in their house, and they can't leave without people surrounding them, and they can't go to the store and just buy a loaf of bread and stuff. So for me, I think it's good. I mean, it's obviously you knew they were going to make a big deal of it in one way or another. So have at it. Yeah. I mean, great for them.
I was curious how you'd think about that, because I agree with you. I'm like, hey, let her go live, and she's having cocktails and having fun up there and doing her thing, and she's interacting with fans, and I don't see a problem with it. But I see so many people across the sports world that are just, oh, you're taking away, you're ruining the NFL, and you're destroying, and she's like, what? I'm just coming to a game to watch my boyfriend. Like, what do you want from me? And I don't know, I kind of dig it. I wanted to hear your take on that. It's kind of out of left field, I know, but I had to ask it. All right, Coach, Austin coming up. Good luck against the Bruins. They're tough. Riverside Arena is a tough building to play in for sure. And like I said, Pink the Rink, great event, great cause for them, and it's always full in there. But keep it rolling. Huh?
No, we need to keep doing that. So let's have a good weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. Good luck against the Bruins. Second portion of Wings Weekly comes up after this with the second portion with the player right after this.
Lights Bar and Event Center is your official home for the Aberdeen Wings. Stop down for an ice-cold beer or drink and choose from one of the many excellent food options on their menu, available for both lunch and dinner. And when your Aberdeen Wings are on the road trying to earn their way back to the Robertson Cup Championship, come on down to City Lights and watch the away games as the audio and video are streamed live. City Lights Bar and Event Center, the official home for the Aberdeen Wings on South 2nd Street, just south of the overpass in Aberdeen.
Second portion of Wings Weekly continues on, and as usual, we've got a player joining us. And in this case, it is Salvatore Collora. Sal, thank you so much for joining us. You're one of the guys that I've been kind of thinking, all right, well, it's about time for him to come on the show. I had talked to Turner last week, and you're a couple of guys that I haven't really gotten to know a whole lot, where like Copel and Backel and some of those guys I've gotten to know over the years or over time. But I was interested to hear your take on all this. Now, and when I say all this, I mean Wings life. You're from Woodensville, Washington. That's where you were born. Is that where you call home? Is that where you say you're from?
Yeah, I usually say around the Seattle area. It's a lot easier because a lot of people don't really know where it's from. It's just a small little suburb, and yeah, we still live there, and my parents are still back there, and I'm there during the summer. Right on.
Okay. Well, very cool. Now, you've bounced around a little bit when it comes to hockey life. Played up in Canada and played in Wenatchee and other places. What's this journey to the Aberdeen Wings been like for you? How did you become a Wing? Where did you first start talking to coaches and stuff and go, you know what, I think I want to give this a try? How to walk us through that journey?
It's definitely been a long one for sure. I've been around junior hockey for a long time, and I signed in the Western League when I was 16. So I think this past year I was in Estevan and things just weren't working out, and Langer reached out to me and my agent. We talked with him. We felt really comfortable about coming here, and we know his reputation and the stuff that he brings. So talking to him and the role that I'd have here, I was really excited to get going here. So it was an easy choice just to hop on board here.
Yeah. Well, and what's the culture been like? Like when I always find it interesting when guys, I know they come from high school or something and they come here. Well, it's one thing, but when you've experienced Estevan, when you experienced Wenatchee, when you've what is the building like, the community, the team, the culture, everything? Because again, you didn't start the season with the Wings. You didn't go through camp and everything with them, and didn't get to know all these guys. Did it take a little time to kind of feel like home, or where are you at with that?
I think with the guys, it was right away. I was pretty welcomed, and it was really easy to get settled. And I played against Pollock last year, so I had a little bit of a familiar face there, and coming in. So in general, the culture is like there's high expectations for us. Like like we want to play well for the town, and everyone else has been super welcoming. Like we get everything provided for us. So it's established pretty early that we come in here to work, and when you're at the rink, we're going to work hard and we're going to try to do our best. So that's it was just really easy for me to step into that as compared to other situations. Like it's just a very, very good culture from the players to the coaches to the town.
Well, it seemed like it, just in watching you on the ice, it seemed like you stepped into a role right away as a centerman, and you're a big centerman, and the face-offs. I talk with Coach all the time about starting with the puck, winning the face-offs, gaining control of that of the zone immediately, and so on. And I want to ask, what makes a good centerman? I always ask that about defensemen too, and then they like to say, oh well, you got to be the best skater on the ice. but what makes a good centerman? How do you, especially being 6'5"?
Yeah.
A lot of guys like Paulie and some of them, they get down so low, but being a bigger bodied centerman, how do you win those faceoffs?
For me, I just try to stay small, try to get as low as possible. Obviously, I'm pretty high up, but stay strong on your stick and kind of use your body to your advantage. Sometimes I can get a little bit more leverage on my stick if I lean over a certain time and just try to read what the other guy's doing and try to counter that. And I played with a few different centermen, and I've been around when I was younger, older guys that have kind of like helped me through and helped me figure out that position. So it's for me, it's just trying to get some leverage on it and try to basically go against what the other guy's doing and trying to read what he's doing. So
as the game, okay, so now this popped into my head as you were talking there. Like, so as the game goes along, can you get a feel for what your opposition is doing? Do you change, like, does it change, or do you always do the same thing as you approach the dot, or is it one of those things where it's like, I know I'm starting to see what he's doing, I need to do this differently?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely that. I think there was a great example of it this past weekend. One of their captain kept on trying to go forward on draws, and you have to adjust. So if a guy's going to try to go forward, you might have to shift to get in the way of that, or counter the way the guy's taking a draw. Like if a guy's crowding the dot with his head, there's just a lot of different stuff that kind of goes into it. And I think there's kind of the same approach, but after you kind of get to the dot, you have to figure out what the guy's doing, especially if it's not your day and you got to figure out ways to change that. That's just kind of all stuff that goes into it.
Well put, very well put. All right, so another question here about the face-offs. The linesmen, they come, okay, so when they talk to you, not just you, just anybody, any centerman, whatever it might be, what are they saying? Because, when we're watching it, and they're, they're looking to drop, and then they stop, and then they go, oh, I'm going to turn you over here, and kind of, it's like this scolding that you get or something. Like, what is it? What's going on at those situations?
I mean, from my understanding, they just want it to be as fair as possible, and sometimes it's a little tough because they see something they don't like, or their partner sees something they don't like, and maybe you disagree. Like, I've definitely gotten into my spats with them about it, but it's a little difficult for them. I was a ref growing up, but they usually just try to talk to you about center, or like getting your stick down, or getting in in between the hash marks or something like that. But at the end of the day, with draws and usually a guy is trying to do something and cheating some way, so it's just kind of trying to walk that line. And sometimes some linesmen like you better than others, and you got to deal with that sort of thing. So.
Well, and it's funny because I coached and ref and stuff growing up too, and I know when they're scolding the wingers and trying to get them out to the hash marks, or if there's some jousting going on and whatnot, I get that. But sometimes I wonder, like, well, what is the holdup? Like, why are they not dropping the puck? What are they seeing or aren't seeing? And I think the casual fan who is watching this is also wondering, like, well, what the heck is going on? Why?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when it gets to the point where it's kind of every draw.
Yeah.
You start to get a little tired of it, and they reset you every time. So you get into your stance, you kind of feel ready to go, and then they'll kind of go into the dot and block you out, and you have to reset, and it's kind of a weird thing. But like this weekend was a bit different. It seemed like there was a lot of them, but some weeks there's a lot, some weeks there isn't. It's kind of up to whoever we get. So
well, and I talked to Paulie a couple of weeks ago, and I was giving him a hard time about his stick spin and his routine going to the dot. Do you have one? Do you have anything that goes on in your mind or anything as you approach?
I kind of just, especially in the D zone, I kind of look for his hand going forward specifically, and then kind of where the guys are lined up. It's just kind of like that, and then an exhale, and then just try to get into a position where I can bear down on my stick. That's the biggest thing for me. And I can't get super low like maybe some of the other guys, but if I can get my body in a position where I can get over the puck, like I'm going to probably win that draw. So,
well, you're a strong guy, so I mean, I think in some cases getting low, is certainly helpful. But then you can make up for it. I mean, it's maybe the best way I can put that. I don't know, with your strength and with the leverage and stuff. So that's awesome. And winning those face-offs is obviously key, and it's improved as the season has gone along. That's for sure. Okay, well, we're rolling along. You talked a little bit ago about the time on the ice, whether it be in Estevan or in Wenatchee, and now here in the Aberdeen Wings. You spend obviously a lot of time on the ice working in the weight room, in film sessions with coaches or whatever it might be. What do you like to do when you're not here? Or are you Obviously a card guy, you like to play poker. Do you what's some hobbies?
No, I'm definitely a card guy. I love just like board games, cards. I play a lot with my girlfriend's family, and even just here with the guys, if we can get a card game going, that's something that we definitely want to do. I play a lot of video games. I think a lot of guys do on the team, and different stuff. And mostly, like away from the rink, I think it's a great time to kind of get in touch with the guys, especially in a place like this where we all live pretty close to each other. So getting together and watching movies and trying to enjoy the company that we have here, and try to take that time to kind of rest and get away from hockey a bit, I think is the best way to go about it.
You got to recharge.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your go-to video game? You keep trying to look at my notes. Stop that. You're cheating.
Right.
You keep glancing over at my notes. I'm like, no, I'm not going to let you see what my next question is. Stop it.
Right now it's Fortnite. It's kind of gone from Fortnite to Call of Duty to Minecraft. It's kind of whatever the guys are playing.
Yeah.
I'm not a solo video gamer. It's not very fun. So I like to play whatever the guys are playing, and some games I'm better at than others. So.
See, I'm going to date myself here, obviously, and I don't even need to because everybody knows I'm old. But like back in my day, when you played video games, there were two guys with controllers playing against each other in the same room. And now it's like everything's online, and you could be by yourself in a room, but playing with 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever other people, maybe your teammates or whatever else. So that's kind of interesting in its own right to me. It's like you're playing not by yourself, but you're by yourself.
Yeah, no, but
it's kind of weird.
It's weird just kind of having a guy's voice just kind of go off at you, but I guess I'm a little more used to it. I've been playing video games for a while now, but it's definitely something that's I can't do it by myself. I just get bored. Like it's one of those things when you have teammates around, it's kind of like, yeah, might as well play with them. So
when I was in college, we would play Tecmo Bowl. We'd have these tournaments, and we'd be drinking beer. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but we'd be drinking beer in a room, and there's 6, 7 guys around waiting for their turn to play, and everybody's having a good time, and you're playing Tecmo Bowl of football or something, and cheat codes and all that kind of stuff. It just seems like it's just bizarre to me how things are nowadays. Anyway, that's cool though. Like you said, you got to find a way to refresh and unwind a little bit from the rink and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so a question I always ask everybody: what's your final meal? You could build the perfect meal. Absolutely, like your favorite things of every kind, whether it's an appetizer, whether it's a dessert, whatever. There's a tray here. What are you putting on it?
I think I'd probably go. My dad and my mom make this thing usually around the holidays. It's called Italian rice balls. It's like ground beef, peas with rice, and then you fry it. And it's like an Italian thing. My dad has a lot of different recipes that he got from my grandpa, where he makes a bunch of different Italian dishes. That and my mom's lasagna, that's pretty high up there. I'm honestly just a lot of my mom's cooking. She does a really good job, and it's honestly that's the hardest part of being away. Is that then you get back and you enjoy it for however long the break is, and then you have to come back and it's like, man, I just wish I could have that food.
See, folks, anybody out there watching, listening, whatever, this is why I ask that question every time, because that's a great answer. I love it. The family cooking, Tishkevich talking about borscht just a couple weeks ago, how he misses his dad's borscht, the soups and stuff that they eat in Europe and whatnot, and just the family, those meals that your mom makes as you're growing up and that you love so much, and then you're away from it. That's why I asked the question, and that was a fantastic answer. I'm really curious about the rice ball.
I gotta find a way to get some here. That's something that I definitely need, but it's nothing beats the home cooked meals for sure.
Love that. Okay. All right. So Austin is coming up. All right. Now they go 1-1 against Bismarck. Over the weekend against Minot, but you've seen these guys several times, and it's like I was just talking to Coach about. They had a pretty strong weekend. Now they got beat up a little bit on Saturday, but as the 5th place team right now, they beat the number 1 team in the division. They've got to have some confidence. They've got to be ready to rock, and they've got a big weekend. And I was mentioning to Coach, it's Pink the Rink week at Riverside Arena, and it's always a huge crowd. It's always a big event up there. What do you guys need to do? You know what? Everybody always says, "Oh, well, we just have to, play our game." Da da da. But Austin's, they're a difficult team. Really, as is every team in the Central Division. They all have their difficult attributes, I guess, to play against. Of course, some are very physical, some are very fast, some are, everybody's got their thing. What do you have to do?
I definitely would say that they're one of the more physical teams. With their size and their age is a big factor. They got a lot of older guys there that have been around the block, and they kind of play with that heavier style for sure. So I think one thing we got to do is, I think the past few times when we've been playing, and we've been able to kind of match their intensity in the terms of physicality. I think that's a big thing that we need to do, and exploit maybe something that they're not especially good at, and which is their speed. There's a lot of fast teams in our division. I would say that they're more of the physical ones. So I think using definitely getting the puck behind them and using our physicality that I think we've shown a little bit more of the past few weeks to kind of wear down certain aspects of their team is something that we've had success with the past few weekends against them. So, and I think another big thing is to kind of stay out of the box for sure. Their power play was better the past few weekends we played against them, so we don't want to get chasing around and don't want to give them any momentum. We want to shut them down as fast as possible because their guys seem to get frustrated pretty fast.
And it's one of the things, talk with Coach, week in and week out after we break down these weekends and so on. One of the things he always talks about is staying out of the box, and it seems like there's a fine line there. You need to be physical. You need to be engaged. You need to stand up for your guys and have their backs and so on, but yet stay out of the box. It's always a challenge, but an important one.
Yeah, I think it's big for us to just to play within the whistle. I think that's a big thing, and I think we saw that the past few weekends, even with North Iowa here, is that if we kind of grind away at them, something's going to burst, something's going to happen. So if I
love that quote. When you talked with Ryan on ice and you said you just got to grind away. I was saying prior to that even, I was like, wear them down, wear them down. And then when you said that about grind it out, grind them down, and I thought, God, that's a great way of putting that.
Yeah. And only good can come from it. Like if we get on them and they get frustrated and they start doing stupid things, we can take advantage of that. Right. And they're going to be a scrappy team, especially with them fighting for playoffs, and whether it be against us or any other team in the division, everyone's pretty close at this point in time. So it's every game's big, and I think them especially being outside of the bubble looking in is kind of something like maybe they have a little bit more to prove, and they're going to come out with physicality, which is something that we have to match.
Without a doubt. They're well coached and a skilled hockey team, no doubt, but very physical for sure. It'll be a challenge at Riverside Ice Arena coming up. Speaking of that, it is a 7:05 puck drop both nights, Friday and Saturday. Watch at City Lights Bar and Event Center in Aberdeen, or log on to nahltv.com. Listen on 94.1 The Rock, HubCityRadio.com, or the Rock app, which you can put on your mobile device, whether it be a phone, or a laptop, or not a laptop, but a tablet or whatever. Anywhere in the world you can watch using that Rock app. NAHL Top Prospects Tournament coming up, played in Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania. Wings representatives, of course, are Riley Sharon, Weston Turner, and Adam Duvall. Team Central schedule is February 5th, 7:30 versus Team South. Tuesday, February 6th, 3:30 p.m. versus Team East. And again, those can be watched at NAHL TV. Next home games coming up Friday and Saturday, February 9th and 10th, again versus the North Iowa Bulls. YMCA Strong Kids Jersey Auction Weekend. Wings will wear specialty jerseys all weekend and will be auctioned off by Val Jark of Jarkworthy Auction. Sponsorships and reserved season tickets are available for the remainder of the 2023-2024 season. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. For all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, and on Instagram. Sal Collora, thank you so much for taking some time to join us here and let us get to know you. You did a great job. Very well-spoken, smart guy here for sure, and a hell of a hockey player. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me on.
All right, folks, that'll wrap up this portion of Wings Weekly.